To honourable member, what is illusionary about finally having the ability to control our borders and control our own international trade policy?
It is illusionary. And I'll carry on, and some of my colleagues will as well, and my colleague on the front bench did as well. So the mantra, "Get Brexit done," informs this government's rhetoric and the style I suspect they'll be adopting going forward into trade negotiations. They have a list of future deals with the EU, with the US and many more. We heard some of them earlier from the Secretary of State. They imply that they'll be quick and easy. Now, Madam Deputy Speaker, you don't need to know much about negotiation to know that A, negotiation is never quick, but is a slow, deliberative process. And we know that on average, international trade negotiations and deals take about 7 years to complete. That's on average. And we're talking about 8 months. 8 months, not a year, 8 months to complete a deal with the EU. And the other thing about negotiations that it doesn't take being a rocket scientist to know is that the larger, the more powerful party will always come out with more at the end of the negotiations. And of course, by leaving the EU, we are no longer an equal member, in fact a relatively very strong member of the single biggest economic trade bloc in the world. We will be the 5th, 6th or 7th most powerful economically large country in the world. We will be a long way behind the EU, behind the US, behind China in terms of the size of our economy and therefore our negotiating power. So, Madam Deputy Speaker, what we on this side of the House and many UK businesses trading with or in competition with other markets fear is that the government's aspiration for quick and dirty deals will undermine our standards, our businesses, our public services, the very things that many voters thought they were protecting when they voted Leave. And now the Get Britain Done party talk about quick negotiations that, so far as I can see, undermine so much. They risk losing what we've achieved as fully participating members of the EU for the last 40 years. High-quality food and safety and consumer standards and environmental standards and workers' rights. And in future, with the climate emergency becoming top of the political agenda internationally, this has to be another aspect of what is important and what we risk losing as we drop down in the pecking order in international trade negotiations.